In my first vlog, I said something. I said that I think we should stop listening to music. And I also said that I will do a follow-up video on that. So here it is. What I mean by that, of course, music is an art form. Music is something you enjoy. Music is something that gives you a very good time. I don't think we should ban music. And I think it's okay if you listen to music. But what I mean in that is that we are listening to something 24/7. People don't let their brain think. They don't let their brain handle stuff. What's it called? Your brain can't process things if you always have it on some kind of voice. Music is one part. You can enjoy the music. Let's say you drive to work, right? So you on the way to work, you're listening to a podcast, just to inform yourself what's going on. At work, your colleague has his radio on and you're constantly listening to music all the time, and you have to work, so it's a different kind of, your brain has to process different kind of things. You drive home, maybe you're not listening to a podcast, maybe you're listening to an audiobook. You don't have time to read and you really want to get the knowledge of this book, so you choose the audiobook form and you listen to the audiobook on the way home. Then you're at home, you game, you turn on the TV, you're listening to news, and maybe after like a game of League of Legends, you grab yourself something to eat, and then you pull up YouTube because you need YouTube to eat, which is a different topic. But what I mean with that, you're constantly listening to stuff. You're constantly listening to other people's opinion. You don't have time to process any of that. Maybe you're listening to radio on the way to work. There's some kind of news. You forgot them when you're at work, and then you have to talk to different people. So you never have the time to process any of that. On the way to work, at work, on the way home, at home. You brushed your teeth, you did your skincare routine, you're laying in bed, you pull up your phone, and then you doom scroll a little bit of Instagram, what's going on TikTok. The whole day, the whole 16 hours of the day, you listen to music, to other people's opinions, to podcasts with different people. You're laying in bed, your brain starts to process, and then you start to think about it. What happened in the day? People start to blame themselves because they can't sleep. They start to overthink stuff. Yes, you start to overthink stuff when you're in bed. Why? Because it's the only time your brain isn't getting other information. It's the only time where everything around you is quiet, and then you have time to process stuff. Your brain needs the time to process stuff. If you don't give your brain the space outside of sleep, then you're laying in bed and you just can't close your eyes because you think about everything that happened today, happened last week, because you do it every day. So for the sake of your sleep, for the sake of your own opinions, and also realize that people don't have own opinions anymore. I also didn't have own opinions. I just accepted opinions of other people because I didn't thought about it myself, about stuff. I just listened to a YouTube video. He said something and my brain was like, okay, I know this aspect, and so this is my opinion. Which is wrong, of course. You should make your own opinion. So this is just something, your brain really needs to process stuff. You have to think about stuff again, and you're not thinking about anything. You're just consuming all day long, for days, for weeks, for months, and maybe even for years. So my friend also said that when we were in the gym, for example, I don't listen to music when I'm in the gym. And he said that he can't understand when people go to the gym and they don't listen to music. And I'm like, why should I listen to music when I'm in the gym? I want to work out. Don't need my podcast or anything, I just want to work out. So why should I listen to music when I'm there? Leave your headphones in the gym, because it's like 90% of people who use headphones in a gym, it's just a way to stop this social dynamic. You have your own music, you don't hear other people, you're in your own zone. And if you don't have headphones, maybe someone will approach you and talk to you. And I don't think that's a valid point, because just stop using your headphones, just stop listening to music and other people's opinions. Just listen to your own thoughts.